Jesus Christ, I've never sweated so much just sitting in one place. It is so hot in the UK, and I'm just sitting in my room, and I'm not even doing anything. I'm gonna die. After the really exciting news we got yesterday about the open beta coming for Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, I decided that it was time to do my annual thing of putting together my wish lists and the things that I'm most looking forward to seeing for Bannerlord at Gamescom. Now, I've done this most years and it seems to go down pretty well, and it's quite good because it means that you guys can then put in the comments down below your wish list of the things you want to see, and who knows, maybe they even get answered. I mean, last year I did say I wanted more multiplayer stuff, and we got loads of cool multiplayer stuff. I mean, I doubt it's Tower Wars, but there is some higher power up there that is listening to our Bannerlord hopes and dreams.
My men would like a word with you about your personal belongings.
First off, though, is modding. Modding is something that we have heard is going to be in Bannerlord quite a lot. It's been said over and over again that it's coming to the game in one form or another. Yes, we had modding in Warband, but now in Bannerlord they're giving us some great modding tools. And pretty much all we know about modding is that there'll be modding tools that will be pretty much everything the developers have to make the game the same in the first place, except from obviously the exception of being able to completely remake Bannerlord. There'll be that sort of limitation, but other than that, you'll be completely free as a modder to do pretty much whatever you want throughout the game. But that's all we've heard. I would really love for them to tell us a little bit more about this. Exactly what can you do with these modding tools? Will there be separate stuff that aren't really in the modding tools but more for map makers? Because of course they're two very separate things, and maybe even some looking at easier stuff that map makers can get in and doing. Maybe like you or me who haven't really done that much map making in the past, but is there an easier system enabled to do this that we can now make our maps? And how that can go and correlate in towards where you can make training maps and uploading it and things like that. But in general, I just really like to see a lot of modding stuff, and that sort of leads me on to my next thing about map making.
I'd slit your throat for a trinket.
A lot of the time when it comes to map making, it sort of comes to the fact where you start making custom maps for your regiment and your clan, and you want to make training maps and things like that, which, yes, should probably most likely be possible. But I want to know a little bit maybe about the community side of it. Now, we did hear probably like over a year ago now that the battle mode won't be in it. They have said that that will be able to be modded in by modders, the typical battle mode, and there'll be similar sort of things that you can do in it, but that was sort of a staple for the community for having line battles and shield battles and so on. So now that's not in. What else are they going to be changing on the community side? Will it still be regiment or clan friendly like Warband is? Because that's what I found is really good to be able to keep a game alive. And a really great example that I've seen so recently at the opposite of this is Mordhau. Mordhau's gone from 50k at its peak every single day to about 12,000, 10,000 in a few weeks. Because, one, they don't have the content to keep it going and people are sort of dropping off quite a bit. But two, I'd put it to you, there's no real community around it in terms of events and battles. It's not very clan friendly. There's no regimental system, there's no ranking systems, there's no profiling systems or anything like that, and the admin controls are terrible. There's nothing that you can do on a custom server that is really easy to access for a wide variety of people. And that's mean that it's dropped off quite a lot because there's no solid communities around it. So hopefully Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord will follow on what they did with Warband, make these profile systems, make these custom maps, make these servers easy to use, because I mean the latest updates in Napoleonic Wars have really advanced the adminning systems of Napoleonic Wars, which is great because it means that there are still active communities and clans around it. And I think if Bannerlord do that straight away from the get-go, where clans can then set up and start making events as soon as it comes out, that is what is going to make this game last as long as Warband has.
I'll tear you limb from limb.
Next we have Siege info. We have had a variety of developer blogs about sieges, and we had a lot of gameplay. Some of the first gameplay was on sieges. Things like besieging castles from the attacking and even the defending point of view, being able to drop rocks and things down there. But I want to see a little bit more about that, the specifics. In the developer blogs since those last ones, in the last few months, we've heard about being able to block up streets, barricades coming down, the whole of the scenery in the area within a town or city that you're sieging changing, people putting up barricades, being able to choke point off different bits. I really want to see more about that, if you can manually do that, if that's all automatic. But additionally, how that will actually look throughout a siege, because we didn't really see that in the other sieges. This goes on to more as well about later on, the last stand in the keep. We know that this is a thing. Once you're defending, you might want to pull back and have a last stand in the keep, which is a separate sort of bit of the siege map. And additionally, when you're attacking, the enemies might choose to do this. So hopefully we might be able to get to see a little bit of this when you're in a siege. If you can't do anything more, then you're going to have to pull back to the keep to make a last stand. Furthermore, throughout the sieges, I'd really love to see more of the siege weaponry. We got to see some catapults and things, a little bit on ballistas, but we did see in the gameplay a few years back some siege destruction of crenellations. I would love to have some confirmation at least of how that destruction is going to evolve throughout the game, or whether that's literally all the destruction we're getting. I'd love to hear them say, yes, you can actually knock down a whole wall, or if it's just, yeah, it's just the crenellations that blow off, or if you're in a town, maybe you can burn buildings or houses and things like that. I'd really love to see a little bit more information about the destruction throughout the game. Is it dynamic destruction, or is it just little set piece destruction that you can actually see in certain maps and certain areas?
That's a nice head you have on your shoulders.
But less about the battles. What about the map? What do I want to see on the map? Well, I'd love to see, and now this is probably one of my weaker points here that, you know, is just sort of something that I'm a bit interested in. They have said that, yes, you can go around as a lord, you can go around fighting for people, or have people fighting for you, getting troops, recruiting, setting up your own kingdoms and economies throughout the world, marrying and all that sort of stuff. But what about the lesser side of it? What if you just wanted to be a humble merchant or a trader? Because they have told us that, yes, this is possible, and that's what something you can do. Go around trading goods, maybe getting into scraps every now and then, or on the other side being a gang member or a thief throughout the world, being able to tax certain streets off and things like that, being able to go and invade caravans, being able to rob people, capture people, and then persuade them to join you, ransoming people. I'd love to see this more smaller bit of the campaign map rather than the big grand strategy, as we've seen gameplay of you commanding certain commanders and then them also commanding you in different bits of gameplay. With the horse sergeant gameplay or even the horse archer gameplay showed us a lot of these grand scale battles, but I love to see a little bit of the single player in terms of the smaller areas and the smaller things you can get into, because of course that's really going to be the majority of your game until further down the line, when you get to the point where you can and have the ability to decide whether you want to stay there or if you want to really expand throughout the world and influence different people and actually get up into those higher classes.
Blood, honor, and glory awaits us!
But what about the map? Now, I don't really mean the single player map. We've seen a lot of the single player map. I'm really interested in looking some of the multiplayer maps. They showed one Gamescom of the single player, and then they've showed one of the multiplayer. Is this going to be a bit of a mix between? I don't know, because they have said that if you go to the Gamescom, you can play the game, but it is the multiplayer component that you can play. So it looks like they're really focusing on the multiplayer side of the Gamescom this year for Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. So in terms of the maps, I'd love to see some new multiplayer maps. What sort of sieges, castles can we get? Are these correlated and transitioning into the single player as well? Are they similar? A bit like in Warband, where you had the castles in the single player and then you could actually play a few of them in the multiplayer, which is a lot of fun. How will this be balanced, and will we get a few looks around the castles, a few guides through the castle, and also not just the siege maps but the open maps as well? Because yes, you probably can get random maps on planes like that, but what about like the forts, the smaller stuff, maybe towns that you'll be fighting? And there's a few of those open maps that were sort of skirmish maps in Mount & Blade Warband, not necessarily sieges, but it would be great to be able to see them on top of some sieges as well. And talking about multiplayer, game modes.
By the sword and by the spear.
Now, they have said quite a bit about game modes in the developer blogs, but they have said there's quite a few new game modes, and I don't know if we've heard about all of them. Of course, we've got the 6v6 skirmisher modes, we've got the siege modes, which are most likely coming. They're not going to have that battle mode, which is a little bit unfortunate. We've got the captain mode, which is something that we've seen some gameplay for, but is there going to be a conquest mode? Is there going to be a capture the flag mode? I'd love to see a little bit of gameplay of that, add some variation to it as well, and this really links in and comes into the map, because they'll probably have certain maps that are best with certain game modes and they'll be able to show them off pretty well. But all in all, I'd really love to see a lot of the multiplayer siege game modes, because we've seen siege in single player but not multiplayer, and that's going to be really interesting.
It's almost harvesting season.
For the final couple of things, these are about announcements for dates. Now, of course, everyone wants to know a release date, but I didn't really want to include release date within this video because that's sort of a given. Everyone wants to know that. Whether I think we're going to get it in this year at Gamescom, I suspect not, but I think it won't be too long after. But what I do really hope, and I do think we might get at this year's Gamescom, is more info and maybe even a date on when the open beta is coming. As I said, most of this gameplay and the stuff that I think predicted we're going to see at Gamescom this year is going to be multiplayer focused, as that's what the dev blogs have really been leaning up to at this moment in time to this Gamescom. And last developer blog yesterday, we were told that they are doing tests with people in the community, players like you and me, that have been able to play the game. I was actually sent a message on Steam today of one of those people offering me a Steam account to play Bannerlord, but don't worry, I said no, and you might think I'm stupid for that, but for two reasons. One, because of course it's probably unfair on Tail Worlds, because they are only doing these small tests so they know exactly who has the keys and all that sort of stuff, so it's unfair on them. But two, I want to play it as everyone else would play it, or at least I want to play it at the right time. So if Tail Worlds do send out more keys, or if they do open it, I want to play it as they think it's ready for me, you guys all to play it, rather than me getting into a closed sort of beta that wasn't really meant for me. So because I want to savor the best moment for when the first time I play it, so I'm really looking forward to that. But as I said, yeah, they are getting community members in it, so this Gamescom is going to be probably about the multiplayer. And I really want to hear some info on when that public open beta is coming, because I think once that is out, it will be on from there. People building up the excitement, the hype building. And yes, people say hype isn't great. Hype is amazing. Shut up. If you hype so much that a good game isn't good for you, that is your problem, not the game's problem. If you're hyped so much and then the game's really good, that's even better. But it's the excitement. Everyone loves excitement leading towards a game. And I just don't get this whole thing like hype is bad. If hype's bad for a game, that game is bad anyway. The hype wouldn't make a difference. Yes, you might be more disappointed, but you're going to be disappointed anyway. It's not like with a game like Bannerlord. Oh, I wasn't hyped for it, so it's a bit of a mediocre game, but at least I'm not that disappointed. What's the difference between that and then being really hyped and still being disappointed? You might as well get excited for it, because if it's great, that's fantastic, and then you've had all that experience of building up. If you get really hyped and it's bad, the game was going to be bad anyway. The hype's not going to make any difference to it, and if you let it get you more disappointed, then that's a different issue. But I can't wait to see what we can see from Bannerlord this year at Gamescom. I will be releasing news and updates as they come out. There'll probably be quite a lot on the day, so I'll be trying to work my socks off to get it all out to you, so make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already, and then I'll probably do an after come down video off Gamescom for Bannerlord. But thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you stick around the channel, as that will all be coming very soon. But until then, guys, here's a quick message from my sponsor, and I will see you in the next one. Make sure you check the links out into the description to go into Aniba Games. You can get some great deals on pretty much any game. I mean, Kingdom Come Delivered's £17 and it's like 40 quid on Steam, so it's sort of a no-brainer. All the Total War games, pretty much any Steam games, but not even just Steam games. Any platform, Xbox, PS4, whatever. You can click the links in the description and support the channel. I mean, Mountain Blade, the full collection is like £3 and that's got everything in, so I mean, you might as well. Make sure you go and use code RESONANT to get a 3% discount. Links in the description, and if you register now, which you don't have to, but you can, you also get another euro off it. So that's something you can do if you have the time and want to support the channel.